Before we get into today's episode, I just want to take a moment to apologise for a small editing blunder in last week's podcast. Two sections of the podcast were accidentally duplicated, as some of you might have viewed or heard. As soon as I spotted it, I corrected the audio version, but the YouTube version I've left as it was. That one's on me, so apologies to anyone who listened or watched and thought, hang on, haven't we heard this or seen this section before? Thank you as always for sticking with the show and for the support week in, week out. Right, let's get into today's episode.
Whatever it takes, we're racing, we're in the zone. Whatever it takes, we push hard, never alone. I'm in the cockpit, the engines roar, hear me now. We're racing circles, got a hustle made a vow. Chasing victory, it's all or nothing on the track. Speed is my motto, nothing's ever holding back.
Welcome back to the Lone Road iRacing podcast. I'm your host, Guy Robertson, and today we're talking about something almost every iRacer experiences, but very few talk about it honestly. The yo-yo effect of iRacing. Weeks where everything clicks and your numbers climb, and weeks where nothing sticks and your iRating drains away. So today we're breaking it down through the pod. Why the yo-yo happens in the first place. How do we as iRacers spot a dangerous week early? How to protect our iRating without quitting iRacing. How to use bad weeks as an advantage to get ahead, and how to stay mentally balanced across a season. And of course, we've got this week's Agony Uncle towards the end of the show, so keep on listening for those great insights about what we all could be struggling with and what advice we are sharing with our fellow iRacers. So let's get into today's episode. Let's say this clearly. iRating progression, as we all know listening to and viewing the show, is not linear. It never has been. Some weeks the car suits you, the track suits you, the splits are healthy, while other weeks none of that aligns, and forcing performance during misaligned weeks is how you turn a small dip into a deep hole. The mistake isn't losing iRating, the mistake is not recognising the type of week you're about to start. Danger weeks reveal themselves quickly if you listen. Common signs. Qualifying pace exists, race pace doesn't feel comfortable. That one chaos feels unavoidable. You're reaching instead of dictating. Incidents stack high through accumulation, not recklessness, and you feel mentally rushed before the green even is triggered. If you feel hurried before the race starts, the week is already leaning against you. That's your cue to adapt, not panic. So there are two types of losing weeks. One called execution week, where the pace is there, errors are self-inflicted, fixable with discipline and restraint. And then there's what I would call an environmental week, where the combo just doesn't suit you. Participation quality is also poor, and the risks outweigh the reward. Execution problems can be corrected. Environmental problems must be managed. So trying to drive your way out of an environmental problem really works. So this is where you have to protect your iRating without even parking the rig. Protecting iRating is about intent. That might mean racing less, not stopping, choosing safer series, prioritising finishers over positions, letting faster cars go early, accepting damage limitation races, and occasionally starting from pit lane strategically. Because some weeks are not about gaining points, they're about not donating them. So this is where you have got to be a smart or a wiser iRacer. This week has been a difficult week for myself. I thought the combos would suit me. I've been doing the Ringmeister in one of a different car that I would normally race, but I did the practice and I've had mixed results but never gained any points, though there's been small losses across the week. So this is for me one of my yo-yo weeks where I'm slowly draining iRating. So there is the potential to spot these gaps, shall we say, before you totally drain your iRating. So I'm going to be back in a minute and we're going to just hear from today's sponsor, Outlap. We're having a quick pause here to mention our sponsor, Outlap, who are supporting the podcast. Outlap is built around the side of sim racing we don't talk about enough. The focus, the preparation, and mental work that happens long before the race actually starts. It's not about hype or loud designs, it's about process, patience, and showing up ready, whether that's in the rig or stepping away from it. If that side of sim racing resonates with you, you'll find Outlap quietly ticking along in the background. I want to thank Outlap again for sponsoring the podcast, and the link to their sim racing apparel store is in the show notes. Well, thank you again to Outlap for sponsoring the podcast. Back to the topic in hand then. So how do you turn a bad week into an advantage? Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. If this week isn't paying you in iRating, it can still pay you in preparation. Look ahead in the schedule. Jump into upcoming combos earlier. Learn tracks when pressure is low. Practice starts, pit entry, and also pit exit. Test conservative lines, for example. Build comfort before the points actually matter. By the time the new week arrives, you're already settled in. Everyone else is still scrambling because they've not put the pre-work in. That's how smart iRacers get ahead quickly. Bad weeks also create emotional fatigue. End of the day, we're all humans. And this is where the balance matters. Spending time with family isn't a step back. It's part of the system. Good weeks often mean long stints in the rig. Bad weeks are a chance to reset. And some of the best races you'll ever drive or you'll see drive are the ones that aren't forced. So that's all about going and doing maybe something a bit different for a few hours to get you into another mindset. So when you come back into iRacing and into your rig, you'll feel refreshed you'll feel like a new iRacer once again with a fresh mindset. So the iRating yo-yo isn't failure, viewers and listeners. It's feedback. We all can't be good at everything. Some people are good at longer races. Some people are good at shorter races. And different cars, different weather conditions. And that's what makes us all human and gives some of our competitors an advantage, and other times we have the advantage. And that's why the yo-yo effect is embedded within iRacers. Smart racers don't panic also when the numbers dip. They adapt, they survive, and we all need to prepare. And when the swing comes back, guess what? We're ready to pounce, ready to farm the hell out of that opportunity. Okay, so we're going to come back and it's time for this week's Agony Uncle. This week I received an email from an iRacer we're going to call H. H struggles in 30 to 45 minute races. Their concentration drifts late in the race, leading to small mistakes that cost positions, points and safety rating. First of all, H, if you're listening or watching, you're not alone, and thank you for writing into the pod. This isn't a lack of skill, it's cognitive fatigue. Early in races, drivers often overdefend, overthink, and at times overdrive. And that burns mental energy. By the final phase, the brain is tired. The solution is chunking. Break the race into phases. So opening is around survival and setting that rhythm. The middle of a race is all about being consistent. And the final section of the race is tidy execution. You don't need 45 minutes of focus. You need manageable blocks of attention. And we need to reduce that mental noise even further. 1 reference per corner, let faster cars go, stop racing everyone in your head. And use physical reset triggers. Deep breaths on straights, relax your hands, blink deliberately and sit back under braking. And above all, practice focus and not lap times. Consistency is trained and not gifted, and that's what makes the smart iRacer gain an advantage against other competitors. For me, on a personal note, in longer races, I've too experienced work-related things jumping into my brain, and my brain drifts for a few milliseconds into another problem, nothing to do with the race I'm in. So you've got to keep focused. So I use overlays, and when I feel my mind drifting, I have a coping strategy where I look at the relative, I look at my position, and I look at other things to try and engage me and refocus me back on the race itself. So I'm sure H, you're not the only iRacer that listens to the show or watches it that also has the same problem around longer race stints and concentration. So that's a real good topic to talk openly about on the pod. And other viewers and listeners, please write into the show. We're getting quite a few coming through now. And again, like we said, there's no blame, we're not naming anybody, we're just talking through a specific problem. So, if there's one thing I'd like you, viewers and listeners, to take away from today's episode, it's this. The iRating yo-yo isn't a sign that you're getting worse. It's a sign that you're competing in a system that rewards patience, awareness and long-term thinking. Good weeks make us feel great, bad weeks feel personal. But neither of them define you as a driver on their own. What matters is how you respond when things don't go your way. Do you chase the numbers or do you protect them? Do you force races that don't need forcing, or do you step back, reset and prepare for what's coming next? Some weeks are for pushing, some weeks are for surviving, and some weeks are quietly setting you up for success later in the season. If you're in a tough week right now, that's perfectly okay. Slow it down maybe, change the approach, use it as a chance to learn, practice and rebalance both in and out of the rig. Because iRacing isn't won in a single week. It's built over many of them. Thanks as always for listening and supporting the show. And if you've got a question, a struggle, or something you'd like covered in the iRacing Agony Uncle, drop me a message. You're not racing that road alone. And don't forget, the show's email is in the show notes below. It's me, Guy Robertson, and this has been the Lone Road iRacing podcast, and I'll see you on the track soon. Happy iRacing.
Whatever it takes, we're racing, we're in the zone. Whatever it takes, we push hard, never alone. I'm in the cockpit, the engines roar, hear me now. We're racing circles, got a hustle made a vow. Chasing victory, it's all nothing on the track. Speed is my motto, nothing's ever holding back. Whatever it